Hi there, I'm Square, and let's talk about anime. Holy cow, we finally have some answers that lead to more questions, but still we have some answers. This was such an eventful episode. Honestly, one that cannot be missed. Not only do we get so many of our favorite characters from the original series back again on screen, we finally get some explanations of what the heck is going on. Let's break this down really quick, and then I'll get to my overall thoughts on the happenings and events that we just saw in Yashahime episode 15. So we start off with a rather interesting conversation between Riku and a very pregnant Kagome, even though she isn't really showing. There's a meteor coming that threatens the world as we know it. It's a meteor that comes every several hundred years, and the last time this happened, Kiranmaru teamed up with Toga to destroy it. There are a few problems with this now. One being that Toga is no longer around. This leaves Inuyasha and Sesshomaru to fill in for their father. The second problem is Kiranmaru himself. Because of a prophecy from the Shikan Jewel hinting at his eventual demise, he hates Hanyo. So the life of all the young half-demons are in danger. So when Rin gives birth to Towa and Setsuna, Sesshomaru shows up and whisks them off immediately. He seems to leave them in the forest where we first met them at the beginning of the series, leaving them in the care of Jokin. Now Kiranmaru isn't the only one who wants the Hanyo dead. We have the mysterious demon Zero, who seems to be manipulating things behind the scenes. This leads to Kiranmaru being woken up from a long slumber and seeking out to kill off the Hanyo, including Inuyasha. Sesshomaru shows up and agrees to team up with Kiranmaru to defeat his brother. We then get to see that heartbreaking scene from several episodes ago and its eventual outcome. Inuyasha and Kagome give up Moroha to Hachi to save her from the upcoming fight. Sesshomaru and Kiranmaru approach the couple, but before blows can be dealt, Sesshomaru takes out the black pearl from Inuyasha's eye and traps Kagome and Inuyasha within. We end the episode with a fourth wall break where we see Riku has been narrating this entire time. Oh my gosh, there's so much to unpack in this episode. It's hard to know where to even begin. Now, one thing I want to say first, a few people in my comments have let me know there's some spoiler-laden pictures floating around about episodes 15 to I think 18. Thanks so much for letting me know about this. I really appreciate people keeping me up to date on this kind of stuff. So I've thought about it and ultimately decided I don't want to look at the spoilers. I think I want to continue going in as blind as possible to each episode. That way, you can all get my candid thoughts and genuine reaction to things. Now, this may mean some of my predictions, thoughts, theories may be way off base and already disproven by these pictures, but I've made peace with that, so I would appreciate you being gentle though. All right, now back to the episode. There's just so much. Okay. First, we finally get to know what happened to Kagome and Inuyasha. One of the theories that was put forward in the community, and me, early on was that they were trapped somewhere, like how we saw with Rin. That turned out to be the case. They've been stuck inside the Black Pearl for 15 years. I can't even wrap my head around how that would work. The Black Pearl is a gateway to the border of the afterlife, the bridge between the living world and the netherworld. As far as I can remember, and as far as my research shows, we don't know too much about this place. Does time pass? If it does it pass as normal? There are so many questions, but Yasha and Kagome are alive! This is huge news, and honestly, such a relief. We still don't know their status, and I can't imagine what they're going through, just having a baby, then having to give her up right away, and then being stuck between life and death for 15 years. But they're alive. And Moroha, we get to see what happened to her, kind of. Hachi took her to Koga's clan. I literally leapt out of my seat when I saw that, and it totally makes sense. Moroha does have this brutish, wolf-like tribe mannerisms about her that we've noticed from early on, and her being raised by them makes this all make sense. And it's kind of sweet that Koga and his people would step up like this to care for their friend's baby. Of course, we don't really know how sweet it actually is, considering Moroha talks about having a master and being indebted to him. So it makes me think something more complicated happened along the way, but for now, it was a sweet moment. And Sesshomaru, he is acting like his stoic self. But even if he doesn't show much emotion through words and facial expressions, his actions say so much. As soon as he knew his children were in trouble, he made steps to protect them. When he realized Inuyasha's life was in danger, he devised a plan to remove him and Kagome from the situation, ultimately saving their lives. All the while, he's able to manipulate things in his favor. Kiranmaru thinks he's on his side. Sesshomaru is able to hide his true feelings and his intentions from Zero, all the while protecting those he loves. It's actually rather admirable. And I find myself liking Sashi more and more throughout this episode. But the star here was Jokin. My boy stepped up to protect these girls and raise them as if they were his own. He's probably the reason why Setsuna survived the fire and how the twins even made it to age 4 in the first place. Mommy Jokin, you're the highlight of this episode for me. So sweet. Last, we have to talk about Riku. He's been mysterious and suspicious since he's been introduced. And after this episode, even more so. We don't know much about him, but it seems like he's been manipulating things since back in the time of the original series. He somehow got his hands on Inuyasha's mother's rouge, the one that he gave the Kikyo, and he was also able to manipulate things to a point where a new black pearl was created in only 4 years, something that's supposed to take 100. He gets Hosenki to give both the pearl and the rouge to Inuyasha and Kagome, which both come into play huge ways later. Riku just gives away a pearl like it's nothing and seems to have multiple pearls under his disposal, and he's freaking everywhere, watching everything from the shadows. And we end this episode with a fourth wall break from him where he's narrating everything and choosing not to tell us more. What the heck is this guy? Riku seems to be much stronger than we may have first suspected. We knew that he's strong, but giving up pearls like they're candy? Pearls that lesser demons would die for? That says a lot. He seems to be able to manipulate things that should be impossible, get items he shouldn't have his hands on, make it so a powerful relic's creation time was cut down to a fraction. And it seems like Riku's been playing 4D chess since long before the series even began. He's everywhere. He has his hand in everything. But to what end? There is a lot to unpack here. But my thoughts ultimately end up on that prophecy from the Shikan jewel. The prophecy states that Kiranmaru's demise will come from beings that are neither human nor demon, but also from an impossible entity that surpasses time. So it seems like Kiranmaru and his minions believe this impossible entity, who is neither human nor demon, is Hanyo, half demon. That isn't too much of a stretch. Hanyo are neither full demon nor full human, so that part does line up. Now, this entity also surpasses time, and Inuyasha itself is a series of time travel. We have several characters jumping between modern day and the feudal era. So this prophecy would lead one to believe the key to Kiranmaru's demise would be a time-traveling Hanyo. But the issue I have with this is that really isn't an impossible entity. We have many entities who fit this description. Toa, Setsuna, Moroha, and Inuyasha himself are all Hanyo who have traveled through time. Some of these multiple times even. These characters just aren't special within this description. So how do we fit this impossible requirement? And this gets me thinking back to Riku. A character who seems to be everywhere, has a hand in everything, and seems to know more than anyone else, able to see moves and events way ahead. He seems to be setting something up, putting motions in place towards an outcome no one else can see. And it makes me think, in order for him to be everywhere and see everything and know everything and even talk to us, the viewers, perhaps he is the entity that surpasses time. Maybe he can manipulate time. Maybe he could freely travel through it. Maybe he just has some control over it, as opposed to the other characters who just jump back and forth as the well lets them. This would explain how he got all of these impossible items, how he knows where to be, who to talk to, what to get them to do, and all the while he's smirking from the shadows as things go his way. He's trying to make things happen. He's been manipulating the girls from early on, putting bounties out on the 4 perils, watching the Yashahime take them out one by one. Once the perils are gone, who's left? Kira Maru. My theory is Riku is manipulating everything to lead to Kira Maru's demise. He's doing what he can, putting little butterfly effects into place to get his eventual outcome. Now, we don't know if Kira Maru is Hanyo, but neither human nor demon doesn't necessarily mean Hanyo. He may be another entity entirely. Or he may be trying to set up a Hanyo, like Toa, to complete this task for him. That fourth wall break really shook me. And even if my theories are off, Riku is something we definitely need to keep an eye on. With that, let's wrap up by talking about the art. I'm continuing my button designs this week with Setsuna. I had a lot of fun with her expression. With Toa, I wanted to keep it pretty neutral considering she's probably the most neutral of the 3. So I'm going for extra cranky with Setsuna, and with Moroha, I want to do extra excited. That way there's a little bit of a difference between each of them while keeping kind of the base the same. I want like the eyes and the faces to line up, and I'm pretty happy with these so far. I think they're turning out pretty cute, and I'm excited to make more. I did get some feedback in the comments last week of people liking buttons, and that makes me really happy because it's a lot of your support that really keeps me going. And I look forward to getting your comments and everything every week. I'd love to be able to build a community. Now, something I do want to share is I've actually started streaming some of my art. I'm trying to set out a schedule to help me stay consistent and maybe build up more of a relationship with people who are viewing my things, because I honestly like people. I like making friends, and I think it'd be fun. So I would love if you guys would join me. I'm planning on streaming on Twitch Tuesdays and Wednesdays starting at 11:30 a.m. PST, and Fridays at 9:30 p.m. PST. Link in the description to my Twitch channel, but it's the same name I use here, Square Bear Pixels. I've had a couple streams so far, and it's been a lot of fun. I'm currently working on buttons for other anime series because I'm just obsessed with buttons right now. So I'd love to have series and character suggestions to help build up my collection of button designs. So if you can make it, let me know you came from my YouTube channel. We can make art and maybe discuss some anime lore together. It'll be fun. With that, I'm wrapping up by asking you to do that YouTube thing. Like, subscribe, comment, tell your friends. Any support super duper helps the channel. And I want to thank you all for joining me today, and please have an artsy day.